Welcome back, everyone. As you probably guessed from the title of the video, as well as the thumbnail, we have breaking news, and it is that earlier today, a man was spotted in the vicinity of President Trump with a rifle. Gunshots were fired. All of the details on that are still developing, but we're going to get into that today. What has been reported, what we know, what we don't know, all of those sorts of things. And for those of you guys who are new, my name is Mike. I run the Mr. Guns and Gear channel here. Typically, we film outside on a very lovely lake. However, it is a tropical storm outside right now, so we cannot film out there. So with that aside, let's talk about what we were talking about today. So again, earlier today, President Trump was out playing golf in West Palm Beach. There's a lot of things that have been reported. I've kind of annotated them here on my computer. We're just going to kind of walk through them bullet point by bullet point and sort of talk about, again, what we know, what we don't know, what has been reported. So reportedly, there was a man in the vicinity of President Trump spotted carrying an AK-47. Now, very likely, because this is America, it was a semi-automatic AKM pattern rifle, if we actually want to be specific, but they did say it was an AK-47, indicating that it was chambered in 7.62 by 3.9. Again, we don't know if that's true yet at this point, but that is what has been reported. Initial reports came out and said that 4 rounds were fired. It wasn't identified in terms of who actually fired those rounds. Multiple witnesses on site said that it sounded like pop, 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 pop. So if you will, 2 controlled pairs. Then about maybe an hour after the initial reports came out, it was reported that it was the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office that fired the shots. However, right before I came up here to film this, and it is right now, it is 4:50 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, it was reported that it was in fact the Secret Service that fired all 4 rounds in the direction of the man with the rifle, and that in fact, as of right now, no rounds were believed to have come towards President Trump. Now, again, where was President Trump? Where were the Secret Service agents? Well, what we know as of right now is that President Trump was on the 5th hole, and because it's a golf course that's very well known, there's a lot of maps and things like that of the actual area, so we can kind of get into that a little bit here. So the 5th hole, as you guys can see it, is annotated here on the map. I actually went and did a street view from a couple different places because several eyewitnesses said that the man was in the street. What's interesting about that is that essentially the 5th hole, as you guys can probably see it here on your map, is right on a corner in terms of the topography of the area itself. And both of those streets are occluded by bushes on both sides. So it would be difficult to get a visual on where President Trump was from the streets, at least according to Google Maps. That may have changed since those images were taken. However, it's a pretty high traffic area. So Google's images are probably correct there. And what was reported, again, last that I've heard, is that it was a Secret Service advanced team that had rifles mounted on tripods that spotted him. So if you think about that, if the rifles mounted on tripods, we don't know where those tripods were. Were they on an elevated position or were they just on the ground? Don't know. However, if they were, scoped rifles, which we would have to imagine they are, they could probably see through little gaps in the tree line and identify different threat areas if they were doing their job correctly. And in this case, by all reports, again, a lot can change, but all the initial reports seem to indicate that the man wasn't able to get any shots off, which is very different than what has happened previously, and that the Secret Service did in fact get shots off. So if that was the case, where was that advanced team? It was probably a few holes ahead. So the actual street view may be different depending on where that team was, if that makes sense. So that is what we know now, and that is the street view of the area where President Trump was. Where those teams were, we don't know at this point, so we're just going to have to leave that as an unknown and move on. Before we jump back to the potential shooter, one thing I wanted to point out that I've heard reported multiple times in several different media outlets is that this event, i.e. Trump playing golf, was not reported on any official schedule. So that brings into play the question in terms of how did the man know where President Trump was? Did he follow the motorcade? Was he just assuming that President Trump regularly plays golf at this course, which he does? We don't know at this point, but that is interesting because, again, if you kind of compare and contrast to what happened in Butler Farms, there was weeks in advance, at least 10 days in that case, of where President Trump would be and when he would be there, whereas in this case, that absolutely was not the case. Now, getting back into what has been reported, according to all reports, as soon as rounds were fired towards the man with the AK-47, he dropped the rifle, then got into a vehicle. It was reportedly a black vehicle that was identified by Secret Service drones. So I'm not sure if the actual person who fired the shots at Trump, the Secret Service agent reportedly, identified the vehicle, or if the man ran a distance to get to the vehicle and then drove off. However, we know he drove, at least, again, according to reports right now, he drove a pretty reasonable distance. So it is entirely possible that the Secret Service agents on the ground did not see the vehicle he got into, and he was identified by drone, as has been reported several times. And why do I say that? Well, the shooting, again, happened at President Trump's golf course, which is in West Palm Beach, Florida, and where he was arrested and apprehended is in Marion County. Marion County is in a different county. It is a county north of where West Palm Beach is, so that is an interesting detail to point out. As I was just saying, Marion County is where he was reportedly arrested. Some reports have stated that there was actually a traffic accident that led to him being arrested. I do not know if that's true. That's kind of still one of those unknowns at this point, but we do know he was arrested in Marion County, and the reason we know that is the Marion County Sheriff gave an interview about 30 minutes ago, as of when I'm recording this, so a little bit after 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if that makes sense. And the sheriff reported a few things that were interesting. The most interesting to me is that he reported that the suspect in the case was calm and was unharmed, so apparently was not hit by any of the gunfire and was in a calm mental state. That is unusual. If somebody had just been shot at and was fleeing the scene of a potential presidential assassination, I would think they'd be pretty amped up, especially if they had potentially just gotten into a car accident. So that really is what we know at this point, but a few things that are different from what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, aside from what I already mentioned, is that in this case, unlike what happened in Butler, the person who we believe to be the shooter is still alive. So he's going to go through questioning, presumably have a trial, presumably have to have all the evidence laid out in front of them available to the public, unlike what happened with the Thomas Crook situation in Butler, Pennsylvania, where as of right now, there's a whole lot of evidence that we still don't know, still hasn't been revealed to the public almost 2 months after, or just after 2 months after the incident occurred. Additionally, the vehicle, if it is a reasonably new vehicle, is going to have a lot of information in it. So if you have like a new vehicle, it has a GPS system that's built in, has your phone contacts built in, those sorts of things. It also has the trackers that track off of cell phone beacons. All of those little things, if it is a reasonably new vehicle, like 2017, 2018 or newer, that information we will know as well, whereas we didn't know that in the Thomas Crook situation. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, the Secret Service reportedly had drones up in the area. So what did they cover? Did they see this guy coming in? Did they see him exiting? We think they saw him exiting. Did they see him come in? Where did he come in? And those types of details in a potential future trial that presumably will happen at some point because the man is alive. That is assuming that he stays alive anyway. Those details will come out, and as well as many other details on what actually happened today. Again, everything we're talking about is breaking news, so some of the details are known, some of them are unknown, some of them are presumed, and some of them will likely be proven false as more information comes out. But that really is what I have for you today, the breaking news aspect of it. A few administrative notes before we close the video out. We're going to do a couple of things over on Mug Club, which we'll get to here in just a second, but we also want to thank the main channel sponsor, and that is going to be Brown Owls. They provide, or rather sell to the public, a ton of the things that you guys are probably interested in if you watch this channel: firearms, ammunition, gunsmithing supplies, accessories, optics. All of those things can be found over at Brown Owls, and we definitely thank them for sponsoring the channel. Additionally, over on Mug Club, right after this video, we're going to go over there and answer the questions on this shooting, because I put it out earlier before filming. What did people want to know about this that might not be in this video, that we might not be able to talk about on YouTube because there are censorship rules? If you guys are interested in Mug Club, there should be a code here that will get you guys a free month of membership over there as well. Not just my content, but all the other creators who are over there creating exclusive content on Mug Club. You'll get access to that as well. And with that, again, if you guys like this video, unfortunately, this very likely is going to turn into a series. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you like the things we typically talk about here on the channel, guns, gear, optics, etc., you can sign up for the daily deals email at the website here on your screen. This email goes out every day, as the name indicates, and it has the best deals from around the internet that we find. If it is in that email on a given day, it's the cheapest we know of for the given item, because I've already done the price comparisons for you, and hopefully it saves you guys some time and some money. If you guys have already hit that subscribe button and you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, then you are being censored by an algorithm. So to fight that algorithm, you can sign up for my email at the website here on your screen. This email goes out once a month, and it has all the videos since the previous month's email went out. So that way there's no big tech giant censoring your eyes from my content. Lastly, we do have an SMS service. Just sent out a great deal on a weapon light earlier today, but basically 1 text per day, it's going to go out, and it's going to either have a really good deal, like the best deal that we see of the day, or breaking news on a breaking video like this one perhaps, so that way it goes straight into your inbox, so that way you guys are as up to date as possible on what is going on in the world of guns and gear. And with that, that's all I have for you. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.